John Lennon, the genius behind some of the greatest songs in music history. A man who preached peace, love, and harmony to the world. A cultural icon, a legend. But what if I told you there was another side to John Lennon? One that wasn't about imagine or all you need is love. Because behind the music, behind the fame, and behind the carefully crafted image, Lennon was violent, cruel, hypocritical, and, at times, downright unrecognizable from the man people worship today. This is the dark truth about John Lennon, the side they don't want you to know. John Lennon, the so-called man of peace, had a violent past. And this isn't some hidden secret. John himself admitted it. In a 1980 Playboy interview, he confessed, "I used to be cruel to my woman, and physically, any woman. I was a hitter. I couldn't express myself, and I hit." The same guy who wrote, "All You Need Is Love," the same guy who staged bed-ins to promote world peace? Yeah, that guy. Cynthia Lennon, his first wife, lived through it. John was insanely jealous. Early in their relationship, he thought she was looking at another guy at a party. So what did he do? He slapped her across the face, in public, and it didn't stop there. He screamed at her, controlled her, physically attacked her, and then one day, he just abandoned her. He met Yoko Ono, cheated on Cynthia, and left her and their son Julian, without even looking back. John Lennon, as a father, if you thought he was a bad husband, he was so much worse as a dad. Julian Lennon, John's first son, was basically raised without a father. And this wasn't just rock star dad is busy kind of absent. This was I don't love my own kid kind of absent. John once told an interviewer, and I quote, "Julian was born out of a bottle of whiskey on a Saturday night. He was an accident. An accident." Imagine growing up knowing your dad openly resented your existence. And while Julian was getting ignored, Lennon was busy playing super dad with his second son, Sean. Julian has talked about how painful it was to watch his father dote on Sean, writing songs for him, spending time with him, while Julian barely got a phone call. And what makes it worse? After John died, Julian didn't even inherit anything from his father's estate. Yoko Ono got almost everything. Sean got taken care of. Julian had to fight in court just to get a small piece of his father's fortune. Peace and love, huh? Let's talk about Lennon as a friend. Because if you thought he was bad as a husband and father, he wasn't exactly winning any friendship awards either. First, there's Paul McCartney. The Lennon-McCartney songwriting duo is legendary. But toward the end of the Beatles, John started treating Paul like absolute garbage. He mocked Paul's music, called his songs granny tunes, and dismissed his work, even though Paul was keeping the band afloat while John was off doing heroin with Yoko. Then there's George Harrison. John barely respected him as a musician. George was growing into an incredible songwriter, but John and Paul refused to take him seriously. Even Ringo, the chillest Beatle, got sick of John's attitude. By the end, they all couldn't stand each other. And John? He left the band first, then blamed Paul for breaking up the Beatles. Classic Lennon. And let's not forget the moment John Lennon almost got the Beatles canceled. John says, "We're more popular than Jesus." The world loses it. Radio stations banned their music. People burned Beatles records. Lennon had to apologize. Like, a lot. But here's the thing. This wasn't even his most controversial moment. Lennon also made anti-Semitic and racist comments over the years, including mocking disabled people during a Beatles press conference. And yet, somehow, history just forgot about it. Now let's talk about Yoko. Because John and Yoko, that was some next-level obsession. John completely cut ties with everyone except Yoko. She controlled his career, his money, even his social life. At one point, their relationship got so toxic that Yoko literally sent John away to sleep with another woman just to take a break from him. By the late 70s, John was basically a recluse, living in his New York apartment, paranoid, strung out, and controlled by Yoko. And then, in 1980, he was shot and killed outside his home by Mark David Chapman. So here's the question. Was John Lennon a genius? Yes. Was he a musical icon? No doubt. But was he the peace-loving, perfect saint people make him out to be? Not even close. We can appreciate his music. We can admire his legacy. But let's not rewrite history. What do you think? Does this change how you see Lennon? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more Untold music history. Thanks for watching.